Okay, so it's been about 4 days since my last video, in which I rambled on about time and how you just need to sit down and do it, get it started. That's the hardest part. Well, guess what? I didn't do that, but I'm back now. Talk to you in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So, the lesson and takeaway from my ramble about time is do as I say, not as I do, right? So, I want to go into continuing my Ask TM series. And so I've got a question that I'm going to frame up in a second. It's kind of a quick one. It's another definition question. And before I get into that, I think I just wanted to give a couple thoughts. I think within the watch hobby, there's definitely a language, right? So as we move along through this process and as we obtain knowledge, there's a certain a language that is spoken that we start to pick up on. Some of it positive, some of it not so positive, and some of it neutral, you know. So I think as this series develops, I think as those words come up, I think that it's a good discussion for us to define the word, at least for ourselves at the very least. I have a huge... okay, I'm back. So, I'm going to continue the Ask TM series, and one thing that I'm probably going to continue to do is ask you as enthusiasts how you define certain words. I think as we migrate through this hobby, that we get to learn a new language, so to speak. And I think a lot of times we are not necessarily defining that language. You know, watches themselves in terms of, you know, the crystal, the bracelet, the clasp. Those are very concrete terms. I mean, there's not really a definition there per se. You know, those are the parts of the watch. But as we articulate and talk about the actual hobby itself, and sometimes divisive terms get out there that maybe could be perceived as negative, positive terms, neutral terms. But I think it's something important for us just to kind of discuss a little bit, and for our own journey, so to speak, and our own appreciation of the hobby, really think about certain terms that are thrown out there and how we define those. Especially maybe as we define those as a community, for those of us that, you know, kind of belong to a certain Facebook group, belong to a certain Patreon group, so that we are speaking a common language or we have a common understanding when we're talking about things. So with that being said, the question for this week, which I know I'm a little late on, is define a fashion watch. Define a fashion watch. That's it. I'd be very interested in what you all think about that, and I will follow up later in the week again, but I'm really looking forward to responses on this one too as well. So, as always, folks, stay positive, make friends, enjoy the journey, and I will talk to you soon. I hope to drop another video this weekend again. No, we'll see if I have time. Talk to you later. Okay, I'm back. So, the lesson that I kind of hope you take away from my whole ramble about time is do as I say, not as I do. But anyway, I want to talk about... okay, I'm back. So the lesson there is, in terms of when I tell or say something, is that do as I say, not as I do. Just kidding. But anyway, so now I am going to